change tabs, it'll pause it because I'm not actually watching it on YouTube.
Oh, weird. Is that a thing that YouTube always does?
I don't think it's because it's YouTube. It's because I like search for it in Google and then I just did the preview of it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I didn't actually go to YouTube's website. If I'd gone to it, it would have played.
I can hear it though, so you do need to turn it down if you're going to listen to that.
What the fuck,
It's
man?
coming up on the audio.
Is that my?
Something is coming up. I mean, I don't know what's coming. There is music coming from somewhere that I can hear picked up. Anyways, we're gonna just fucking get right into it because we got a short little holiday episode. Dom is unavailable at the moment, so we're gonna just cruise right in. Welcome everyone to the Pass Control Podcast, a show where a couple of best friends talk about the latest in video games and nerd culture. Sometimes we have guests. Sometimes we have a podcast at fucking 9:47 at night. Either way, we have a new episode for you each and every week. As always, I'm your host, Brenden Groom, and joining me on this lovely Saturday evening, not Black Friday, not Cyber Monday. What do they call this? What is this? Oh, Small Business Saturday. I knew it had a name. I was like, what? Small Business Saturday. Coming to you. Joining me this evening, of course, is the Fortnite father, the Todd of War Ragnarok himself. Todd, how are you doing tonight?
You know what? I'm really glad that Black Friday is the way it is now. That like they do it like in advance. You can get the deals without dealing with the chaos. I'm glad like someone finally smartened up and fucking did it that way.
I mean, they were kind of moving towards that for a while. It was slowly starting to be that way, but then I think COVID forced their hand to be like, oh, nope, we're going to just push all this onto the internet.
Because I went to Best Buy on at 8:30 on Friday, and no one was there. And it was great. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. This used to be like chaos. Even at Target, there was like no lines. I was like, good.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Bought my 9 Xbox controller.
What'd you buy? You bought the lunar one? Lunar Shift?
No, they didn't have it. I bought the white one though, just because it was $20 off. So I was like, I'll have this.
Gross.
Backup
I can't believe you do
I
that.
don't think I have it. I think white is one of the few colors I don't have.
All right, well then there you go. I'm happy you got a controller you don't have. I just assumed you had a white one. I have a white one for some reason. I don't know why. It must have came with something or something. Did the Series X come with a white controller? That doesn't seem right.
Black. Pretty sure black.
I feel like I wouldn't have purchased a white controller though. It must have just been on sale. I must have just bought it in a previous Black Friday or something.
Probably.
Anyways, also joining us. Oh, you know what? Actually, yes, this is an old controller because it doesn't have the share button in the middle. So this is an Xbox One controller. So yeah, I must have bought that on sale a long time ago. Also joining us, rounding us out this evening, is the anime senpai himself, Mr. Michael Desir. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
All right, so I only bought these 4 movies today. I got everything, everywhere, all at once.
Hell, did you watch that yet? Have you seen that movie?
I haven't watched it yet.
Whoa. Okay, you should watch that movie. It's really good. Like talk about good cinema. Talk about things that we don't pick on the show for Movie Club. Everything, everywhere, all at once. That's good cinema.
Yeah, I got Ghost in the Shell. I have to double check to make sure I don't actually already own that movie. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Okay.
I got Dune.
Garbage movie.
And I got The Batman.
I'll watch that at some point.
Oh, you still haven't seen that?
No. Is Dennis Villeneuve? I guess we're gonna make this a trilogy now. At this point, we're gonna start each episode talking about fucking annoying directors who want to shit talk the MCU for literally no reason. Is Dennis Villeneuve? Is Dennis Villeneuve also one of those directors that shit talks the MCU?
He made comments, but listen,
Yo, he made comments and then he made Dune, and I'm sorry, Dune is bad. Dune is terrible. Get the fuck out of here. It's better than anything Marvel has made. Stop. Say what you're going to say. I can't deal with you.
No, but these guys all get baited into that question. It's become the question that they get asked that question so many fucking times that they finally say something like that. That question is just getting that's the question to ask any of those big directors these days because they know it pisses them off every time they bring it up.
Is Quentin Tarantino in constant interviews right now? Because every time I open any fucking app on my fucking thing, it's him talking about the MCU, and I'm like, does this guy have any other comments to make?
It's not. It's one thing being recycled because he basically the thing I've caught a lot of on him is that he said his 4 movies that are perfect. He talks about that's but it's his whole book just came out. He was on Stern. He was on everyone, but. Yeah, even Stern asks the question every fucking time. He brings up Scorsese. He brings up he does this to all these fucking guys, and they want to be honest about it. And
listen, I'm not. Listen, hold on. I want them to be honest about that. I want them to share their opinion about these things. I'm not saying not that. It's just that I think their opinion is so categorically wrong. Like, to the point where I just don't even think they know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to those movies. They just don't.
I don't. I agree with everything they say.
Like, when they go as far...
There's a place where you can see both, though. Like, I see it from both sides. Like, I like...
But...
you know...
The problem that it comes down to is this. People are not choosing to see Marvel movies instead of seeing a Martin Scorsese film or a Quentin Tarantino movie. They're not choosing. They're not making that choice. That is not what's happening. Like, maybe there is a very small percentage of people who are like, oh, I'm going to see one movie this week, and these two happen to be in theaters. I'm going to pick this one. Sure, that might happen, but people aren't like wide majority choosing to see a Marvel movie instead of going to see, what was his last movie?
Once Upon a Time Hollywood.
Like, this is like so fucking stupid to me.
I don't know. I feel like the movie theaters have become like one giant Fast and the Furious, though. It just seems like that's like all the movies are now.
But here's the thing, is like, again, is that Marvel's problem? Is it the MCU's fault, or is that just what movie theaters are now? Like, maybe they are trying to save a dying thing. Maybe they're trying to save a dying thing. Like, movies were struggling before COVID, and then weirdly somehow survived through COVID. Like, maybe that's just a dying thing, and it sucks because I personally like going to see movies. I like going to the theater, and seeing some of these films in a theater has its appeal to some people, but maybe that's just a thing that people don't want to do anymore. And maybe it will, go away, and then it will come back in a sort of way that's like, like records. It's like a thing that like people want to experience this thing this way. So I'm going to go to like a local small theater that plays these types of films.
Like, it's wild to me that I grew up with fucking like film, like movies. That's like all I did was watch fucking movies, and like I was obsessed with movies. I still haven't taken my son to a movie, which is wild to me. I think, like, I just like.
And you're the fucking reason. Look at you. You're the fucking reason.
The idea of movies is just like, it's like I said. I want an Alamo Draft House, so fucking I don't want to go to the movies because I just have bad experiences left and right. I don't want to deal with it.
And I'm curious what fucking Quentin Tarantino's take is on the Alamo Draft House, because he probably doesn't fucking like that type of establishment, because he wants you to sit. I guarantee he doesn't. I guarantee he wants you to sit in a theater and watch his 3-hour fucking movie. And not speak and not eat and just sit there.
Well, I remember seeing like Age of Ultron. Me and Amanda saw it at like, I want to say it was like a 10 o'clock showing, when it like opening night, and like all these kids in front of us were on their cell phones. It was like the most. I was like, I can't even enjoy this shit. Like, it just.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
but that's not Marvel's fault. That's just you're in a theater with rude people. You know what I mean? I think.
Notoriously rude, but.
I think it's a multi-pronged thing. And I don't think it's Marvel's fault for not going. And I want to point out that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was his last movie.
Yeah.
Had a budget of $90 million, and it did $377 million worldwide. For that type of movie, I would say that's probably a huge success. Like, that's fantastic.
Quentin's like doesn't get any shit ever, so like he doesn't care what people fucking think of him. Anyways, like, and he even said in the interview, he said, "I make movies for me." All my movies,
which is fine. It's weird for him. Like, so what made me do this again is because a few days ago, Simu Liu, I don't know how to say his last name.
That pisses me off though. What you're gonna say about him? I don't know how to say his name either. But
I think it's Simu Liu. I think it's Liu. But like, I agree with his comment here. He said.
Yeah, but like, do you think people are going to see Shang-Chi because of him? Because they're not. They're definitely not going.
But that's not the point that anyone's trying to make.
I know, but
no, the point that Quentin is trying to make is that people are going to see the Iron Man movie and not going to see the actor. But I think that is absolutely off base. Sure. I don't think that's correct at all, and I can prove points for me personally why that's not correct. But when I
was known as like a bad actor before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so like for him to do what he did, I was like, oh cool, he's finally doing something good. He's been in so many shitty movies that get reviewed horribly.
But also that comment is not in a response or defense to the Quentin comment. What you just said.
Yeah, but I'm seeing Captain America is Captain fucking America. Like, I don't care who's fucking in that role, as long as it's not some slub like that's some like.
But you absolutely do care who's in that role because you don't but you don't like Anthony Mackie, so you don't like the new Captain America.
I don't.
So there you go, right there. You don't care about Captain America. You care about the actor playing it.
No, because I think that like.
Mike, please chime in. Is that not?
Let me hear how Todd defends himself.
Go ahead.
Because it does kind of sound like you said that you don't care about the actor, but specifically saying you do not care for this actor.
Wait, what did you?
You said that you're going to see the film because of the superhero character, not because of the actor, with your exception being Robert Downey Jr. And I just said...
Like, there's a reason why they pick no names for Marvel movies, because they know that these movies, once they got the ball rolling, they knew they...
Or maybe they didn't have the money or budget to do that at the beginning? Maybe they blew all the budget on fucking Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, but dude, they had, like, once Iron Man hit, and it hit hard with everyone, they fucking knew that, like, they knew they had a fucking formula to follow.
And I also want to point out that, like, they also brought in Samuel L. Jackson from the beginning. So, like, we weren't like, let's bank on complete no names. What was Favreau's claim to fame at the time? Was he considered more of like an auteur and not like what was he doing? Favreau.
He was the Swingers guy. He was the Swingers guy.
He did a ton of movies and he directed some movies. I don't know if he directed what he directed before that, but he was a well-known actor for a while, at least. Going into that.
I mean, Iron Man specifically did have, RDJ, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jeff Bridges,
and a cameo by Samuel L. Jackson.
And Jeff Bridges was like that was like
decent cast.
That was like Oscar time for.
And the kid from Christmas Carol. I think the kid from the Christmas Carol, not Christmas Carol, sorry, Christmas. Christmas Story.
My take on this is, yes, part of what you're going to see is the continuation of these characters that you know and the story that they're playing out together, which is not like a Tarantino movie, because a Tarantino movie is, for the most part, a standalone film where you're just going to see this story. You're not going to see a sequel to his previous work. I guess Kill Bill, probably the only thing.
Yeah.
Where it has like continuing story or whatever. So, yes, in that regard, you're also seeing a completely different thing. And again, I don't think anyone's trying to say that Marvel movies and Tarantino or Scorsese or whoever films are trying to accomplish the same thing. But I think it's absolutely reductive to say that no one cares about the people in these films. They're going to see these characters, and they're going to continue to see these characters as time goes on. Because, again, I will point out that you, Todd specifically, and many other people aren't a fan of the new wave of people leading the MCU. And that comes not to the characters, that comes to the actors in these projects. You're mad a lot of the old people are gone now because you have said multiple times on this show you don't think there's anyone that can lead the MCU is from a charisma, from an actor standpoint.
Yeah, no, I still stand by that. But
and that would go against what Tarantino is saying.
No, because you can think about it both ways, though. I don't think it has to be so like straight down the middle. Like
I think you can look at it from all angles, but again, when you have someone like Tarantino, who is, I would say, broadly respected in that industry, to like say things that are so divisive when people are going to listen and run with it.
I don't even think it's divisive though. I think that like it's like going on Stern. People want to be honest. People aren't just going to be like, I don't want to talk about Marvel. I think it like he could sugarcoat it and be like, they're great movies, and then like that's it.
But no one's asking him to sugarcoat. I'm not asking him to sugarcoat it. I want him to be honest about it. I just think his opinion is trash if that's his actual opinion.
Like you said, like, would you want to direct a movie? And he's like, no, they're just hired plants. Like, they're just like...
that's fine. If that's not what he wants to do, no one needs him to direct the MCU.
But I think he's pointing out the bigger thing of that. It's just like, it's a machine at this point. And it's like, it's not like the same thing. It's all special effects. It's all...
But I don't think anyone's trying to argue against that aspect of it.
But his whole point about this is that like he thinks cinema's in the worst state it's ever been in, and he's not blaming Marvel, but he's just saying like how everything's made these days. And he said like a lot of these guys like are just sitting there on a fucking fake screen. They're not even like on sets anymore. You know, like even like the Mandalorian. I think he talked about the Mandalorian, which he said he loved, but like he's like they're filming this in a fucking circle. You know, it's like all this shit. And I get that. This guy's like one of the old guys. Like they like want film. They want to fucking put those movies out there with it. You know, like.
Yeah, I understand that, but if so, like, what is he trying to gain out of this conversation by saying no one cares about the actors in the films? Because that's what I'm specifically talking about. He says no one's going to see X actor, actress. They're going to see this character.
Like, if you really think about it, like, out of all the actors from this recent phase, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm blanking on a lot of them, but like, are anyone going to see these movies for any of these actors? Like, are you guys personally going? Like, are you just going to see fucking how they're continuing the story at this point? Like, I don't think any of us are invested in like. We're more invested in like where they're going. And
okay, when Iron Man 1 came out and you watched it, were you going to see like any of those other films after for the actors? I don't think I necessarily was, but that doesn't mean that after I watched those films, I didn't then say I want to see what this other person's doing. Because again, the point that I think he's also trying to drive is that no one cares about the people in these movies, but I have definitely multiple times been like, oh, what other things can I watch this person in? Because I want to see more of this person's work.
So I take it more as that, like, you know, anyone can play the role because it's fucking, and not like knocking their acting, but like it's just like.
But that is knocking their acting if anyone can do it, because I don't think anyone can be. I don't think anyone can do what Robert Downey Jr. did in that role. I don't think anyone can do that, and I think.
I think that Robert Downey Jr. had one of the best things working for him, though. He had like the comeback story where like this guy had nothing going on. He did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I think, is like the only movie he did. Maybe one other movie, but then this movie fucking just launched him into the stratosphere because Robert Downey Jr. was always likable, always. Even during his downtimes, people like didn't want to see him that way. So like, I think he's just got like a big personality. But I don't know, fucking. Like I said, I see both sides of it. I mean, I don't know.
I don't have Tarantino's. Mike, weigh in on this. How are you feeling about what's going on here?
Let's see.
Like, we should pull up the Scorsese thing too, because like what he actually said, because I feel like his even makes more sense. I don't think like what he's saying is crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of different points going around, and I think not a lot of different points, but essentially different knocks towards the MCU as a whole. I think, and they're only pointing at the MCU because it's the big one, because like there's a bunch of movies, and yeah, people are going to see these films because they're established IPs. I think for the most part, like let's just go from there, because like
I mean, we would never miss a movie in the first three phases. Like, I don't think we fucking missed anything.
I've never missed a movie.
That, like, a lot of these blockbusters are just based, going back, years now. There are blockbusters that were just based off of existing IPs, and people are going to see it because, like, oh, cool, they're making Lord of the Rings into a movie. I don't know if anyone really cared about who was in it per se, but that's because it came out in 2000. The first one came out in like 2001. That much.
And that movie made like every actor in that movie had like the biggest career after that too. Like that was
exactly. So like they all blew up because of that, except for like Ian McKellen, who's already big, and Christopher.
So,
but what I'm getting at is like, okay, I can see that you're saying that people are going to these movies because of the characters as opposed to the actors, but is that necessarily a bad thing, or is that just an observation?
I mean, so I pulled up Tarantino's quote, which gives a little more context, and I think makes a certain angle to this argument make a little more sense. But I do want to, before I even say that, say something like this. I love Breaking Bad. I think it's one of the best TV shows ever. I love the actors on that show are all phenomenal. I never cared about Bryan Cranston before that, and now I will watch anything Bryan Cranston does for the most part. So, again, is that not a very popular mainstream thing making me care about an actor?
Yeah, no,
it's the same thing with Aaron Paul. I didn't know who Aaron Paul was before that. I'll watch something that Aaron Paul's in.
I like supporting Aaron Paul, and I love Aaron Paul, but he has not picked many good roles.
So the quote is, part of the Marvelization of Hollywood is you have all these actors who have become famous playing these characters, but they're not movie stars. Captain America is the star, or Thor is the star. I mean, I'm not the first person to say that. I think that's been said a zillion times, but it's like, it's these franchises that become a star. And again, I would argue that for a lot of the people in the MCU, especially the ones that have the title role of these projects, do in fact, if they didn't have any big roles before, go on to get bigger, more successful. Well, maybe not more successful money-wise, because the MCU is just a cash cow, but like, is Chris Evans going to be in Knives Out without Captain America? I don't know.
So, I don't know. I'm just, I don't know.
And now I'm thinking about like other actors who are big in something like that. Like I keep thinking about Mark Hamill, and I don't know if he's like a good example or a bad example, but like he's big for Star Wars and not much else than that. But is that just like a one-off case, or is there like a case to be made that like?
I think for someone like him, he gets pigeonholed as that thing, and it's tough. But he also has a very successful voice acting career.
Successful career, exactly. But I'm trying to. That's why I was thinking of like. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say minus Pratt because he had Jurassic Park. Have any other of those actors in those movies had big roles minus like Scarlett and because Robert Downey Jr. has pretty much just been Marvel, and anything else he's done minus Sherlock.
I mean, you have to also like, is the goal necessarily for these people to be what Tarantino deems a movie star? Because again, I would argue if I'm the leading face of a franchise that's making billions of fucking dollars, I would argue I'm a fucking movie star. I'm in movies. Like, I would argue I'm a fucking movie star.
These movies made them a movie star. I don't think they were a movie star before these movies, though. Like, a lot of these...
So then all these films that Tarantino's directed that maybe it's a breakout role or the best acting role for whatever actor or actress is in it, is that because Tarantino directed them in a film?
Yeah.
So that's the same fucking thing. In this case, Tarantino is the franchise. That's the thing.
He writes the script.
It doesn't matter. But in that scenario, Tarantino is just mad that these movies aren't a director. It's this established IP where Tarantino, if you're in a Tarantino film, you're gonna get recognized regardless because you're in a Tarantino movie. Because he is the franchise. He is the MCU. It's the same fucking thing.
I don't know. What did Scorsese say? Can you look it up? I'm just curious what he said.
Did he say anything besides the theme park thing?
No, it all started because of him. This whole
Yeah, he just said it was because of fucking like their theme parks, their amusement parks. You get on and it's the same fucking thing.
No, he touched on it. Like someone he had to like answer that question probably 100 times after that.
In 2019, let's see what this fucking idiot said. It's just so bizarre to me because it's like...
That's a great poll quote. This fucking idiot, Brenden Groom, about Martin Scorsese.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, first of all, why can't people enjoy multiple things? There are, I'm sure, plenty of people who watch those shitty fucking movies that then also enjoy the MCU. It doesn't have to be this. Like, when their argument is... I can't find it. When their argument is rooted in people aren't going to see my movies, well then, I don't know, make a fucking different movie or change what you are gauging as success. If Tarantino's thing is, I want to make movies for me, it shouldn't fucking matter how many tickets he sells because he's making the movie for himself.
The only movies that make money now are like, we talked about this, but like, it's funny because it's literally only dumb action movies or comic book movies.
Think about like, here's a fucking perfect example, Todd. I'm loving Pokemon Scarlet. This is not a dig or a plus for Pokemon Scarlet. Those games sold 10 million copies in 3 fucking days.
Yeah, cool.
10 million copies. And I guarantee you, what will probably be your game of the year is Ragnarok. I'll be shocked if that sells more than 7 million copies in its lifetime.
Yeah, because it's a Western-based game. It's not fucking...
What?
It's like, is that only United States? That's... For Pokemon sales, is that he's just talking about like Japan where it's like huge? Or...
That's in 3 days, Pokemon sold 10 million copies.
Okay, Yeah, of course.
And Japan is like a very small piece of the pie for overall international video game sales because their population is small.
But I wouldn't assume God of War is like a big over there like it is in like the.
Again, Japan factors into a very small percentage of the overall video game sales for any video game. Yes, a game like Pokemon's going to sell a lot better than a game like God of War over there. But again, that chunk of that big overall number is not coming from there.
I think it comes back down to like you're like saying like Pokemon fucking got like bad reviews and everything, and it still sold like 10 million and everything. It just people like to consume shit. Basically, is what this telling me. Like,
but again, what I'm trying to say to you is, Pokemon sold gangbusters. It's probably going to go on to be one of the best-selling games in the franchise very easily. Probably one of the best-selling Switch games. Maybe the best-selling Pokemon game.
Which is crazy. So they can just release their games any way they want.
But what I'm trying to say is, me enjoying Pokemon, I'm also going to play and enjoy God of War. And I'm also going to play and enjoy Sea of Stars next year. And I'm also going to play and enjoy other games to varying degrees of publishing ability, quality of story, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Like, the argument that people aren't seeing their movies for some other reason isn't what these pull quotes make it seem to be. Because if the thing is good or it appeals to me, I'm going to go see it or watch it or play it.
Bro, I just think we're watching our world play out in real time like fucking that movie that the Beavis and Butthead guy made. And I think that's just what's happening.
I don't even know what the fuck Todd is saying.
He's talking about Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. It's just because like the more like time goes on, the more it just seems that like, you know, no one fucking wants to like think anymore. No one fucking does anything. So just consume whatever's the easiest.
But that's not what's fucking happening.
It kind of is, dude. If when the movie like Jurassic Park comes out and makes $1 billion, and it's like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But like it's still making I don't give a fuck if it has Jurassic Park's name on it. Like it's just.
We just talked about the fact that Tarantino's last film performed extremely well for a rated R, long as fuck movie not meant for everybody. Mm-hmm. So again, is he mad that his movie isn't making Marvel money? Because it's not gonna.
Yeah, I think it's also getting overshadowed. Like we talked about this, like
by who? Whose attention does he want? Whose attention is he looking for? He gets the attention from the Prestige, the Academy, the Oscars. He gets attention there. He gets attention from critics. So what does he want?
In the prime of me going to movie theaters, I wanted if there was like when Marvel was going, I wanted to see like let's say a Quentin movie came out, I probably would have seen the Marvel movie before Quentin. Like choosing my time with when I can go to the movie theaters and not, you know. And I really want to see the Quentin movie, but during that peak time of when Marvel was like pumping out those like, you know, we're like, oh, this shit's getting better and better, you know, we're getting fucking this, we're getting Avengers, oh shit. Like I fucking skipped over all those movies because like I don't have time to go to the movie theaters that often. So I get it. Yeah,
I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, then I don't know. This conversation was not supposed to be 30 minutes, and here we are.
There you go.
I told you. Brenden was like, "How are we gonna do this?" And I was like, "Don't worry, just say a thing, and Todd will argue about it." And here we are.
I just, I don't know. It's okay. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say it's okay to not like Marvel movies. It's okay to not like.
Yeah, I agree.
It's okay to not like Tarantino movies or Martin Scorsese movies or whatever it may be. But when that side of film has to like make the punching bag be blockbusters.
Can you stop talking about Marvel and its film? It's just like, can we not call it film?
I mean, it's a movie, so like they're all the same fucking thing. It's the same blanket thing. I don't. It's the same thing with like. It's really not the same because there are indie films that exist, but like, I guess a Tarantino movie is more like a Last of Us or God of War.
I mean, Tarantino when Reservoir Dogs came out was like an indie game, basically. I mean,
well, back then, but now he's like a Sony Santa Monica or he's like a Naughty Dog, and he's making these quote unquote prestige films with, you know, the best. Well, obviously not the best CGI or whatever, but like the best graphics for video games, the best fucking actors, and like, you know, attention to technical film techniques. I'm assuming, because I don't even fucking know or care.
Feet, lots of feet.
Yeah, I don't know. Plus, Tarantino's a fucking dickbag. Like, fuck Tarantino. I don't give a fuck about Tarantino. I don't know. I'm trying to find the stupid Martin Scorsese quote, and I don't want to talk about this anymore.
R.I.P. Marvel.
No, I mean,
unless She-Hulk season 2 comes out, then I'm game.
what did Scorsese say about Marvel? Let's see here.
This is cinema. I think he said that's it. He said it was 3 words. Now this is cinema.
Let's see. For those or in a story in particular, he tried to watch some superhero films, not much enjoyed them, and decided that they were, quote, not cinema.
Let's go.
Honestly, the closest thing, cause this is a quote, honestly, the closest thing I can think of, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being.
You know what it is? You know how these guys are viewing this? These are like, what's my best explanation? It's like Nirvana looking over at the Backstreet Boys. I think that's my best comparison. Like, they view themselves as Nirvana, and they're looking over at like this compiled boy band that was put together by pieces, and they're just like, ugh.
But I don't think the pop
analogy, but I like it.
I don't think the pop band is trying to be Nirvana. That's the thing, is like, they can exist. You can enjoy pop music and also enjoy an indie rock band. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
No, and they're just saying it's not for them. It's not their thing. That's not their thing. They're not that guy.
And it's fine for them to not be that guy. But I think sometimes they go as, like, again, for them to say this isn't cinema, like, okay, cool. What's the point of that comment? You can simply say, I don't like blockbusters. You don't even have to get as granular as to even mention the MCU. You can just say, I don't like blockbuster films. And that's totally fine. I don't like a lot of pop music, but I do listen to certain pop musicians.
Martin Scorsese loved Pearl. All right, so this guy knows fucking movies.
I don't know what that means or who that is. Or
It's a horror movie that came out.
I don't even think I've seen a Martin Scorsese film. Have I?
Yeah, have you seen Goodfellas? Probably.
Sure, when I was young. Haven't watched Taxi Driver. Haven't watched The Irishman.
You've seen The Departed.
Oh, he directed The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
That movie's whatever. I have not seen Shutter Island. I saw The Departed a long time ago.
Aviator's another great movie.
I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon. I haven't seen Raging Bull. I haven't seen Casino. Oh, I've seen Gangs of New York.
Casino's another good one.
I haven't seen Hugo. What the fuck is Hugo? This doesn't look like a fucking. What is this? What is this shit? It doesn't.
Hugo was the
movie, I think,
the
right?
CGI movie.
Oh, weird. Okay, weird. Is that cinema? Is that cinema?
Yeah, it's fucking cartoons. It's cinema, not Marvel movies.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Look at fucking Coco. That's fucking cinema.
It's interesting that he made a film that was what he would argue is also not. Wait, Martin Scorsese directed Shark Tale? Cannot be a correct list.
No, he's a voice in it, I think, though. Wait, did he direct that? No way.
I don't know. He showed up for his name. I think he is just a voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, again, that.
What do you think the fish pun was for his name?
I have no idea.
He played a mobster. It was him, De Niro, and I think like someone else like in that group. Now that's fucking cinema.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's funny when these guys like.
I bet you they just see it from their side though, and like I said, like them knowing how it's all put together, they think it's like a bunch of dirt. Like they view it as like this is fucking the way they're making these, you know, like.
But
like I said, like,
that's also again reductive because there is so much that goes into making those. It's just not the same because they're doing different things.
Behind scenes, though. It's like all like.
Does that diminish the quality of it or the work that goes into it?
No, and yes, I think that.
Yikes.
I don't know. Like that's not really. I don't want to call it not cinematography, but like it's like kind of takes that aspect out of it if you're doing it all on the computer. You know, it's like you're just adding shit together.
Cool. So if you want to get as granular as to say that maybe there's less cinematography choices, great. But that's not what the fuck they're saying. And most people aren't reading that pull quote and saying, taking the word cinema and making it mean anything other than this isn't film, this isn't movie, or whatever. I don't know. I'm done talking about this. These guys need to get off their fucking own dick. It's ridiculous to me. And I'm absolutely on fucking Simi Lou's point inside here of like, I mean, part of Simi Lou's point was no one's putting fucking him on one of those movies, and Marvel's taking, you know, more people of color, more women actresses, and putting them in these roles, and that's part of the point he's making too with that.
Cinema, you know?
Huh?
I said I just wish it was cinema. I don't know what else to say.
Mike, say something else here. I can't deal with this guy.
All I wanted to say was, actually, I wanted to say this very early on, but we got into the whole thing. Since you did not like Denis Villeneuve's Dune, my pick should be the David Lynch Dune from 1984.
I mean, if that's really what you want to fucking pick. Dune was just boring. I wanted to like it. It was just fucking boring. It was long as fuck and it was boring.
And it's only half of the story. It's only half
Great.
of the first one.
And I'll watch the next one. I'll watch the next Dune. I'm just... You make me watch this like 2.5 hour movie and then finally something happens at the very end of the film. It's like, what the fuck are you making me watch here? Like nothing cool was going on. I don't need to see weird breathing in a black fucking tub.
Oh,
like
see,
what?
that's like one of my favorite parts.
That's cinematography, Mike. That's cinema.
It's not even that. It's like the cinematography is fucking awesome.
I know, with all that CGI, somehow it's still cinematography with all that CGI, Mike. But not the MCU. When there's a bunch of CGI in the MCU, not cinematography. But Denis Villeneuve, Mike, I don't know if you know this, but he actually went to a fucking alien planet that was all sand to film this movie. It wasn't green screen. It wasn't any of that. Think about that. That's crazy.
I heard about that. That was crazy.
All those HBO bucks.
Hey, look at
There's a lot of
fucking,
things that happen in that
look at Fury Road. That movie's like 97% practical effects.
You are missing all the points I'm trying to make. I'm just trying to poke the holes in the shit you're saying because I also prefer more practical over not. Like I want the MCU and I want Star Wars to go back to more practical effects because I think like the original trilogy of Star Wars holds up so well still because it's a lot of practical effects and just looks like a lived-in real world. Anyways, the fuck are we talking about? It's a video game podcast. I had to complete the trilogy. The last 2 episodes we talked about fucking dickhead Tarantino.
Yo, easy.
Tarantino's not listening to this. This is not cinema to him. So
I'm gonna fucking clip this and send it to him.
Go ahead, Tarantino. Come on the show and you can defend yourself.
Imagine.
Hey, dude, I'm not prepared.
All of a sudden you're like, fuck, man. Now I fucking agree with Quentin.
My whole take is there is room for people to enjoy both. Some people are gonna not like both, and that's fine, both ways. But to then attack the other thing because of whatever metric you are not happy with on your own stuff just seems oddly shallow and weirdly defensive over something. Like it's not like Marvel movies and directors and actors are coming out saying like something against what the other people are saying is cinema. And a lot of these actors, actresses, directors, other people working on the film sets are also working in those films and doing those types of things. Like I don't know.
It goes back to what I said. These guys are getting asked this question like 100 times a day. 100 fucking times. They're just gonna get asked on the wrong time one day. And they're gonna fucking probably, like they probably regret even fucking being in the headlines for that shit. You think? I know Scorsese did. I'm sure
Scorsese seems like he doesn't want to be bothered, but Tarantino seems to be fucking loving it because he keeps getting brought up on my feed.
He's telling a book.
So there you go. He wants to fucking roll around in the fucking mess. I don't know.
All right, good talk, guys.
Yeah, listen. last comment. These Marvel movies are making like billions of dollars everywhere, but they can't even get proper fucking CGI in their movies. It's like you said, it's like Pokemon.
No, we're not having this conversation. These are different problems. A lot of the problems at CGI at Marvel is that they're overworking their employees and making them crunch and not paying them and making them do all these things, and that's the problem for the most part over there.
For like mediocre product, like give or take, some stuff.
Because they're pushing them to work ridiculous hours, not compensating them for that. So like, where's your motivation to even make a quality product if you're just being fucking forced to do ridiculous crunch hours? Like, where is your motivation to even, if that's the case? Again, I think they're just I think they're purposely understaffed and overworking the people doing these things to crunch and put out. At this point, I don't know, like what, anywhere between 6 and 10 MCU projects a year now. That's ridiculous. And if they're not, and I don't know, I didn't look too far into it, but I read multiple things about like the contractors they were pulling in, who they like, basically everyone on that side of things was just being treated super poorly. So I'm not surprised when the movies don't look great. I don't think that's a knock on the artists working on those things. I think it's a knock on Disney and Marvel not treating their employees properly. They're trying to scrape up as much profit off these films as possible and bleed as much work out of these people as possible. That doesn't like say that, like, it sucks that the CGI suffers for it, but I think it's a Marvel Disney problem, not the people working on CGI.
I feel like it's a huge Disney problem. But.
Yeah, it's a huge Disney problem. It's fucking terrible. But I think the main problem is that they just aren't respecting the employees. Anyways, I don't know. I'm looking at a list of the Marvel actors now that are in like current Marvel, and it's like, you know, you want people that have a little more quote unquote cinema, you know, background or pull. I mean, forget me, like, if I'm incorrect here, but it doesn't Benedict Cumberbatch have Oscars or nominations at least?
He's definitely been nominated, yeah.
But he's been in those types of films. Florence Pugh,
Yeah. Yep.
Mahershala Ali.
More of like a newcomer, so.
Yeah, but that's the new wave of people in the MCU. She's gonna probably be at least a major role in a sense. Mahershala Ali has an Oscar, I think.
Yeah, he has too. I feel like they're trying to go after those actors now. If those actors want to do it, I feel like that's what they're actually trying to do now.
I mean, I don't know. I think they have a good balance of, they're gonna have some actors that are like that and some actors that are, you know, young and up and coming and no name and don't have big roles attached to them previously, which I think is fine and healthy, and let these people establish themselves doing this stuff. I mean,
I wonder if someone like Florence Pugh is like signed on for the Marvel stuff, and then like now she's kind of like, fuck, do I want to be locked into this for all this time? You know, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I want to do another
movie with Olivia Wilde. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like, if you're enjoying yourself making these films, I'm sure they pay very well for the person in the lead role. So again, if I'm some of these actors that have been in the MCU, I don't fucking need to act anymore. I don't need to work anymore.
I'm pretty sure what I read is she's getting paid the most for is it Cannonballs? What is it called?
Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts? She's getting like $6 million. She's making like the most out of anyone on set, I think.
I mean, she probably has the most name recognition out of all those people that are in those movies, besides Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But she might have more of a Samuel L. Jackson role where she's like, you know, in minimal scenes. But I'm sure Samuel L. Jackson makes a nice paycheck for the amount of work he is putting into some of these movies. And I would imagine that's going to end up being the same thing for Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like, she's probably going to have similar amounts of scenes like Samuel L. Jackson has, but still be compensated, you know, pretty heftily for that, because I feel like she's a pretty big name to have attached to the MCU. I would argue.
I feel like a lot of young crowd doesn't even know who she is, though.
I feel like a lot of the young crowd probably didn't know who the fuck Samuel L. Jackson was, though.
No, everyone knows Sammy J. You can't forget Samuel.
I mean, aside from the prequels though, like what younger leaning movies would he be in that would like younger audience would know who he is?
I mean, like just from Pulp Fiction alone, everyone watched that movie. You know, like
I didn't watch that movie.
Oh really? Yeah. I mean, that was just a huge movie in general. Like that's like what blew him up. But he was in like you ever seen the Negotiator?
No.
Another great movie. Oh, R-rated movies though. So I don't know.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like a younger audience probably doesn't know who Samuel L. Jackson is unless it's from Star Wars.
I mean, Snakes on a Plane. I don't know when that was. That was like PG-13, I think, though, wasn't it?
That was rated R.
Snakes on a Plane was rated R.
And that came out when Mike and I were in high school. Todd was probably starting his second job at that point or something.
Todd was already agreeing with Martin Scorsese back then because they were both the same age.
I don't know. I don't even know what we talk. Like, what do we even name this episode? We argue about Marvel again. Like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Just put why Quentin Tarantino is always right.
Definitely not. Does anyone have anything else they want to talk about before we wrap things up? Because this episode is fucking done.
Yeah, God of War Game of the Year.
Yeah, you're just gonna go out and say that you finished the game and it's Game of the Year.
No, it's great though. I can't wait for you to actually play it. So I want to talk to someone about it.
Yeah, I'll play it at some point. I just Pokemon is kind of taking me on a journey right now. Pokemon's great. I don't give a fuck. I mean, listen, the game has its problems. I don't give a fuck. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. No, but once you start that God of War story, I feel like I don't know how you put it down.
I mean, I got not super far, but I got enough into the story, I think, where I am curious and want to keep playing it, and I will go back and play it. Pokemon fucking is doing its thing, so. My goal is to try and be able to finish Pokemon, the story of Pokemon this week, and then I'll still play it, on the side. Because I think I'm going to try to complete the Pokédex. And then go back to God of War. Because I would like to finish God of War before so this is a lofty fucking goal. My goal is to finish Pokemon this week. I was hoping to finish it this weekend, and I have not played a lot of video games this weekend. Finish Pokemon this week, then try and finish God of War before. When does this come out? Before December 13th, which is, when is that? Is that in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm basically giving myself, not even, it's like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe. I'm giving myself the deadline of the 13th to try and be able to be done with Pokemon and God of War, because Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion or whatever comes out, and I'm kind of excited to fucking play that. So I want to be able to play that, but I don't want to.
Is it PlayStation only?
No, it's on everything. It's on Switch. It's on Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, Steam.
Is it a remake? I don't even know what it is.
I think it's a remake of Crisis Core, but I think it's like they may have changed some stuff to like fit it into remake. I don't fucking know. I have no idea, but I've never played Crisis Core, and I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what's going on there.
Because Callisto Protocol comes out Friday.
Yeah, it's something I'm not playing. So, I mean, I
never think of that.
Ideally before the end of the year, my goal is to try and finish Pokemon, God of War, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 somehow, and then I would like to, at the bare minimum, start Triangle Strategy and start Crisis Core. I don't know how I'm going to do all that in a month, but I want to at least make enough progress in Xenoblade 3 where I would feel more comfortable being like, yeah, I would consider this like one of my favorite games this year. Because I'm like a good chunk of the game, but I'm probably only not even a third of the way through. So I want to get back to that and spend more time with that. And I feel like there's a couple of indies that I have on my radar that I haven't put time into. Like, I know you said you have issues with Somerville. I still want to try it out.
I guarantee you're not going to make it longer than 2 hours.
I mean,
I'm at the 3 hour. I'm at like an hour mark, and I'm pretty sure I just don't know if I'm even going to pick it up and finish it.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
that sucks. But yeah, I there are definitely things I want to try to get done. But finishing Pokemon and God of War are at the top of my list. Those are like the two things I want to get done, hopefully by the middle of December. What about you, Mike? Is there anything looming that you want to try to finish before the year's over?
I wouldn't say looming. I guess at some point I should probably try playing Stray again.
Oh, did you not finish it?
No.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you finished that game.
Oh no, I died like once, and I was like, oh, I don't want to see a little kitty cat die because of my own incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stopped playing it.
I didn't know you're such a...
And he just went back to the carpet and started scraping at it.
Listen, Stray is a fun game. Stray's a good game.
Oh wait, did you have your PS5 when you had? Did you play on PS4?
No, I started playing on PS4, so I haven't actually tried on my PS5 yet.
Oh, you got to get those DualSense, and you know what?
DualSense, I know.
Hot take right now. I think I like the DualSense better than I like the 360. I think it's more comfortable at this point. I'm like, I love it.
Then a 360 controller? Oh.
I mean, the Series X.
Yeah. I mean, I think the series. I've said this before. I think the DualSense is a much more comfortable controller than the DualShock. I actually don't like the haptics. I think that they're mostly something I don't enjoy.
They're never implemented well, I feel like, in most of the times I'm playing the game.
Astrobot, I think, did cool stuff with them, but yeah, other than that, I kind of agree with you. I don't necessarily know if like giving me pushback on the trigger when I'm pulling the trigger down or the left whatever the triggers is like the sensation that I need when I'm playing a game.
Yeah. Especially with playing a game like Ratchet and Clank, I'm fighting with that thing. Like,
that was the thing that made me think like, oh, maybe this is terrible. Like I never went back to Ratchet and Clank after.
You know what? I feel like you can shut it off.
You probably can. I wanted to keep it on because there was like, it was weird. There was definitely something there where I felt like, okay, like I kind of enjoy this.
It worked in some weapons.
Yeah, but then other times I was like, I feel like I'm just fighting my controller and I don't like this. All right. That brings us to everyone's favorite segment, the reason you're all here, which is housekeeping, because we didn't even do that this episode. Obviously, it's the end of the month. We didn't talk about movies tonight. We're going to talk about this on the next episode. So if you're looking for us to chat about Nope and Barbarian, you can look forward to that next episode. Mike, do you have your December pick? Do you want to reveal your pick for December?
I do not have my December pick.
Okay.
I don't have anything, so.
All right. Well, then Mike will reveal his pick next week when we talk about those films. So you can look forward to that. But that also brings us to What's in the Box. And since Dom is not here, there's a chance for a couple of points to get stolen away from the king right now. Dom is sitting pretty at 82. Todd is right there at 77. And Mike is chilling at 67. A couple of guest points on the board. I got a few stumps. It'd be hilarious if Dom just joined right now just for this part. I honestly debated texting him just saying, hey, join in via voice. So we're going to play a game that I call What's in the Box, a game where I pull 3 games off the shelf, I read the back of the box. The first person to get it right based off of the thing that I read gets the point. Game number 1. Send it. Which does the whole box. Send it. Jump into a massive multiplayer playground.
I already forget the name of the game, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but...
This fucking guy. Mike, you gonna let him do that, Mike? You gonna let him do that to you?
He does it every single time. He's like, hey, I think I know what it is. I'm not going to say anything, but I think I know what it is.
And then Mike swoops in.
Sits on it.
Make a name for yourself. Uh-oh. Oh, dear. Make a name for yourself in a variety of blank and rise to the top of the leaderboard. Play with or against your friends in insane multiplayer modes.
Can I go look on my Xbox? Is that cheating?
Yes, that's cheating.
Okay. Even though I know the name of the game, I don't have to look it up.
Do you know who makes the game?
No, not off the top of my head.
I can say things too.
All right, go ahead. Keep on going.
Oh, that's the whole box.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. This game came out in 2021. It is rated T for teen because of lyrics.
Can you read the back of the box again?
And I'm not going to omit stuff this time. I'm not going to omit things, so get your trigger fingers ready.
Yeah.
Send it. Jump into a massive multiplayer playground. Make a name for yourself in a variety of sports and rise to the top of the leaderboard. Play with or against your friends in insane multiplayer modes.
I know the game. Yeah.
The name of the game is 2 words. This Ubisoft game came out in 2021.
Oh, this camera.
Mike, what is going on over there?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Is that your outside? Is that outside? Is that your yard?
We'll just do that.
Oh, there he is.
Oh my god, I'm so mad because I bought this game and played it for a while, and it's can't remember the name. Yeah, no, I can't
I can't believe this is a stump, and I do think Todd might actually know it, and he can't think of the name.
No, I 100% know it.
The name of the game is 2 words, and both words start with the same letter.
Mike, this is a game where you have a jetpack, you can fly around, you can ski, you can snowboard, you can mountain bike. I just took it off my hard drive to free up some space, and
Todd knows the game.
Oh yeah,
That knows the game. I do not.
I will say this. One of the things that Todd just said is related to the title of the game.
Okay. Jetpack.
This is such a waste. This is like an easy layup point, and I'm gonna get the name, and I'm gonna never forget it ever again.
So
I know the icon, what it looks like on my.
So the things Todd named. Think of some verbs you may attribute to those things.
You might as well just stump me because my brain has locked this out. It's not gonna tell me. It's just not.
Ride.
Riders Republic.
There it is, Riders Republic. I'm like, how can I point you into this direction any closer?
First thing Mike says is ride.
I know. That's why I was like, all right, there we go. Game number 2. Step into the blank. Blank is dead. A new expansive blank blank has swept the streets of blank blank. It is now up to the blank blank, blank blank, blank blank, and blank to protect blank. Bring hope to its citizens, discipline to its blank, and fear to its criminals. Your legacy begins now. Play solo.
First thing you did?
Step into the blank. Play solo or co-op. Open world action RPG. A deep cinematic campaign.
It's not Ghost of Tsushima, is it?
It is not. Blank is dead.
I feel like you did this one recently.
I don't think I did this. I don't think so. Blank is dead. A new expansive criminal underworld has swept the streets of blank blank. It is now up to the blank blank, blank blank, blank, and blank to protect blank, bring hope to its citizens, discipline to its blank, and fear to its blank. Your legacy begins now. Play solo or co-op. Open world RPG, action RPG. A deep cinematic. Incorrect.
Oh, damn. Oh, Gotham Knight.
Yeah, I was like, Mike's gonna steal this from you.
I wasn't even listening to it. I was like, huh?
Good. Perfect.
We didn't do Gotham Knights, did we?
No.
Okay. Game number 3, Mike. You gonna stop the sweep? Todd's trying to reverse sweep you right now.
I don't think I ever got a sweep.
You were too for the last few weeks. So you're gonna stuff Todd right now?
We'll see.
Experience blank like never before. Worlds are colliding in blank blank blank's newest.
God of War Ragnarok?
Incorrect. Newest
Yeah, that's it.
blank blank adventure. Accelerate to new heights, battle hordes of powerful enemies, and experience the thrill of blank 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 platforming, freedom across 5 massive blank islands. Welcome to the evolution of blank games. Explore with unparalleled acrobatic freedom.
Sonic Frontiers.
Fucking Todd gets the sweep. I feel like sweeps, we have to establish this maybe next year. I feel like if you get a sweep, you should get like bonus points or something.
Yeah, so put me at 82. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh shit, that puts Todd right behind Dom, 82 to 80. Mike at 67. We'll do at least one more end of the year bonanza game show for points to be had. But Todd with the sweep, Dom's gonna be pissed.
It's okay. He had a week where I wasn't there.
That's true. But that'll do it for this week's episode 345. Like I said earlier, if you're looking for the movie shows, we'll do those next week. Be good. We'll see you next time.